I calmly replied, "Have an absolutely safe flight." Then I canceled our venue, hired a private investigator, and had her served the moment she landed. She told me, over breakfast, no hesitation, no tremor in her voice, not even the decency of a nervous smile, just a spoon tapping the side of her mug, the faint scent of coffee drifting between us, and the sentence that quietly slit the morning open. "I'm going to Italy with Evan for my bachelorette trip. 2 weeks, romantic cities, old memories. Don't be the controlling, insecure fiancé everyone warned me about. Everyone warned her about me." I remember the scrape of my chair against the floor, the way the sunlight caught the gold of her engagement ring, my ring, like a small mocking halo. She watched me, waiting for a reaction she thought she had already predicted. A storm, maybe, a shattered glass, a raised voice. But all I felt was stillness, a cold, perfect stillness. Her phone buzzed on the table. I didn't look. I didn't have to. The name glowing against the screen belonged to him. It always had. I breathed in, held the air for a second, let it settle like dust on my ribs. Then I said the only thing she didn't expect. Have an absolutely safe flight. Her shoulders dropped in relief. She thought she'd won. She thought I was folding. But she didn't see the shift in my eyes. She didn't notice the way something quiet, something final, clicked into place inside me. By the time she grabbed her luggage and kissed my cheek, light, dismissive, perfunctory, I already knew the truth. She wasn't leaving for Italy. She was leaving for good. And I was done pretending I didn't know. The betrayal didn't hit all at once. It unfolded slowly, like a bruise blooming beneath skin. It started months earlier, in small moments I dismissed because love makes you blind in ways pride never could. A late-night shower that finished too quickly. Her sudden devotion to privacy. A lingering smile at messages she never opened in front of me. Then there was her laugh. Different, soft in a way it had not been in years. Like she had rediscovered a version of herself she only performed around me. But the moment that finally cracked something open was a whisper she made while half asleep. Soft, slurred, vulnerable. Evan. She said his name like it tasted familiar, like it had been resting on the back of her tongue, waiting for the right moment to escape. I stared at the ceiling that night, listening to her breathe beside me, knowing the truth in my bones before I ever had proof. She wasn't mine anymore. Maybe she never had been. But I needed more than intuition. I needed certainty, the kind that holds up in courtrooms and breaks illusions cleanly. So I stayed quiet, played the doting fiancé, smiled when she talked about wedding colors, nodded when she complained about work, kissed her forehead when she pretended to be tired. Meanwhile, something inside me pulled away from her, inch by inch, heartbeat by heartbeat, until I became an observer in my own home, a man watching a stranger wear his future like a borrowed coat. The investigation began long before she announced her trip, not the formal one, the subtle one, the one that lives in the mind. I noticed her patterns shift. She guarded her phone like it contained state secrets. She showered with the door locked. She flinched when I touched her shoulder, like guilt had a reflex. Quietly, I collected what she thought I never noticed. Her itinerary inconsistencies, receipts hidden in drawers, a charge to a boutique hotel in Rome 4 months ago, explained away as a girl's getaway that had never included a single girl I had ever met. I mirrored calm. I spoke softly. I looked at her the way a man in love should. But inside, a different version of me took notes. When she finally confirmed the trip, with him, my next steps unfolded with mechanical precision. The wedding venue, canceled. The non-refundable deposit, reallocated. A private investigator, retained before she even reached the airport. I didn't rage. I strategized. Her flight took 11 hours. Plenty of time for a PI, to dig, to scrape, to uncover what she thought she had buried under nostalgia and entitlement. Every minute she was in the air, I was turning her world inside out. Quietly, efficiently, impeccably. By the time her plane landed, I already knew enough to ensure there was no story she could spin, no tear she could weaponize. Only one thing remained: letting her see what she had done through the eyes of a man who no longer cared. The PI's report arrived digitally, hundreds of pages compressed into a single document. Photos, messages, hotel reservations, plans for a future that never included me. I read every word without blinking, every lie, every meeting, every kiss she thought was invisible. The noise inside my mind finally stopped. All that remained was clarity. I forwarded the report to my attorney, one for emotional distress, one demanding the return of the engagement ring. State law was firmly on my side. Then I waited at the airport gate, calm, composed, untouched, while passengers began to spill out. She emerged with a tan she didn't deserve and a smile she hadn't earned. When she saw me, she froze. When she saw the process server, she paled. When she saw the envelope, she trembled. "What is this?" she whispered. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't touch her, I didn't offer her comfort. I simply said, "The truth." Her hands shook as she opened the documents. I watched the exact moment denial died behind her eyes. A twitch in her jaw, a tremor in her lips, a breath caught between shock and fear. "I can explain." "You already have," I said. She stepped closer, reaching for me out of instinct, one last attempt at charm, manipulation, whatever currency she thought she still held. I stepped back. The gap between us became a verdict. "You blindsided me," she whispered. "No," I replied, "you underestimated me." She crumbled in public, knee buckling, voice cracking, drawing eyes, whispers, sympathy she had no right to. And I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not even satisfaction. Only confirmation. I turned away before she finished falling apart. Her voice followed me down the corridor. My name, a plea, a promise to explain. But I no longer belonged to that version of my life. By the time I reached the parking garage, the air felt different, cleaner, sharper, free of her perfume and her deceptions. I sat behind the wheel for a moment, letting silence settle into the spaces she used to occupy. This is what clarity feels like, I realized. Not victory, not triumph, just absence. I didn't check my phone. I didn't replay her excuses. I didn't wonder if she ever loved me. Some truths aren't meant to be solved, only accepted. I started the engine, shifted into drive, watched the airport recede in the rearview mirror like a bad dream finally waking up. And as the exit ramp curved away from the life I almost married into, one final thought surfaced. Cold, quiet, undeniable. Some endings aren't tragedies, they're corrections.